What's going on, everybody? Jose Guzman here from GuzmanBoersandAngus.com, coming right back at you with another quick video. Today's video, we will be discussing the topic of when you should release your goat stud with the rest of your does with your herd for your breeding season. But before we get into it, I do want to say, if you guys have been enjoying our videos, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below any questions you might have or any videos you would like to see going forward. All right, so with that being said, let's get right into the topic. So when should you be releasing your goat stud with your herd? Well, there's going to be a couple of factors that you need to be keeping in consideration. One of them is going to be your type of system that you guys run. So for example, in my system, most of my goats are going to be fed on grass, forage and stuff for half the year, and the rest of the year I'm gonna be feeding them hay and grains. So when I kid my does, I want them to be kidding when I have the most nutrition on the ground, which is gonna be when my grasses are green, when they're lush, and I'd say about 6 to 10 feet tall. That's when I get the best yield for my forage. And I'm in Central California, so that time of year is going to be typically right around March, I would say. So beginning of March is typically when I open the doors and let them get into the grazing pasture. So what I do is I plan my kidding season to start typically in February. Reason for that being is in February, when my does are just kidding, I separate them. They get fed strictly alfalfa hay and some grains. So the reason I do that is because I want them confined to an area where I can keep an eye on these kids. Make sure they're growing nice. Make sure that they're not being bullied by the rest of the goats. So each doe that gets kidded gets separated. And typically they get separated for 3 to 4 weeks. So if my does start kidding in February, they won't be released out to pasture until those kids are approximately 3 to 4-ish weeks, depending on how many does I have kidding. So if I start kidding in February, these kids will be ready to go in a month, which is typically going to be about March. And that's when my grasses are the most lush, and I can release them. They get the most nutrition, they get the best grass, and it's a win-win situation for us. So how do I know when I should be releasing my buck? So if you guys aren't familiar, you guys can go to Google, type in ABGA gestation calculator. So ABGA, American Boer Goat Association. It should be the first tab that comes up. Go ahead and click on it, and it'll actually take you to the ABGA website. And if you guys are raising registered goats, you guys are familiar with this website, but you might not be familiar with this tool. So goats typically have a gestation of 150-ish days. So what you do is you go on this little calculator, click on the calendar, choose your exposure date. So for me, I released Mooney about a week ago. So for example, if I put August 31st, it gives me the gestation dates or the kidding dates. And you can kind of play around with it, kind of see when you should be releasing your stud based off what date is best for you. Like I said, I'm in Central California. I want my kids to start kidding February at the soonest. In the past, I have had those kid December, January, and that has been an issue for me because I have to be feeding these kids as well as these does constantly. So you want them to be well fed. The more nutrition they have, the more milk they're gonna produce. So from when that kid is born to the first 3 months, you want them to be, when you want to feed them good, you want the doe to be producing a lot of milk. So if I don't have any grass for them to be eating, that's a lot more hay that I have to be feeding. And obviously, the more hay you feed, the more expenses you're gonna have, and things of that sort. Not only that, December and January are my freezing months, so there's gonna be ice on the ground pretty much every single day. At least in my area. So I want to be avoiding that. I have lost a couple of kids in the past because it has been too cold. So you definitely want to avoid the coldest months in your area, depending on where you're at. That might be longer, might be, pushing March, April. It might be sooner, it might be November or so. But definitely keep that in mind. And like I said, play with the calculator. Understand what dates you want to be kidding. If you're raising kids for fair, and that's your breeding program, know how old those kids need to be entered in that fair, and plan your breeding season based on that. I don't raise kids for fair. I believe in my area, if I was going to be raising kids for fair, I wanted these kids to be born in December. So, like I said, in my area, I would rather kid in February than in December. So I have to have the most success. And like I said, it's more cost efficient for me to be kidding in February. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate it.